3 touchdown passes for Josh Allen, 3 interceptions for the defense, and 3 years and 3 months since the last Bills kickoff return for a touchdown. This one was for Damar Hamlin.
You are Locked On Bills, your daily Buffalo Bills podcast. Part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day.
What's up, Bills Mafia? It's Joe Marino from the Draft Network, and I'm your host of Locked On Bills. I want to thank you for making Locked On Bills your first listen every day. And as a reminder to you, we are free and available on all platforms, including YouTube. This podcast is sponsored by BetterHelp. It's not a crisis line. It's not self-help. It's professional therapy done securely online, available to people worldwide. And they have a special offer for my listeners. Get 10% off your first month at betterhelp.com/lockedon. Happy Victory Monday to you. The Buffalo Bills defeated the New England Patriots 35-23 to close the season with a 13-3 record and extend the current win streak to 7 games. It was an emotional game after an emotional week. And in case you fast forwarded through the cold open to this show, Josh Allen had 3 touchdown passes. The defense had 3 interceptions, and it was 3 years and 3 months since the last Bills kick return for a touchdown. Folks, this one was for Damar. And it has been a really awesome weekend to see all the different ways that the NFL teams, players, coaches, fans across the league have continued to show support for Damar Hamlin, obviously coming out of the week that we had. The Bills went out there and got a win. And we're going to talk about it here on this podcast. As you may be able to tell, I'm not all there right now. I'm a little under the weather, so we're going to power through here. So if I have any weird voice cracks or anything like that, give me some grace today. But we'll do what we do. We'll do things I liked. We'll do things I didn't like. And then we're going to talk about what's next for the Bills as they enter the postseason. Starting with things I liked, we have to begin with Nyheim Hines. He takes the opening kick of the game, 96 yards for a touchdown, in what was one of the most unreal moments in my lifetime of watching sports. For the Bills to have the week that they had, for the very first play of this game to be a touchdown on the opening kick is surreal. Just a chilling moment, right? Goosebumps. I couldn't believe it. Just an awesome, awesome moment. But Nyheim Hines wasn't done. He then takes another kick back to the house for a touchdown. And it came at a big moment. When New England took the lead for the first time all game, their only lead in the game, 17-14, midway through the third quarter, Nyheim Hines took it 101 yards for another touchdown. 2 kick returns for a touchdown in the game for Nyheim Hines. The first player in Buffalo Bills history to do that. Just the 11th time in NFL history that a player returned 2 kickoffs for a touchdown in the same game. Can you say AFC Special Teams Player of the Week? Very much an obvious choice this week. Thought the special teams had some other good moments that I'll highlight here before we get into the offense and the defense. Tyler Bass, 5 of 5 on extra points. Sam Martin continues to be the best punter the Bills have had in 10 years. And I thought the Bills, for the most part, did a very good job of covering kicks and punts against a really good returner in Marcus Jones. moving on from the special teams and into the offense, what I think anybody would like about the Bills' offense from this game are the big plays. This game, in so many ways, reminded me of the Pittsburgh game from earlier in the season, where I didn't love the snap-to-snap consistency of the offense, but they made some big plays in huge moments. How about the 42-yard touchdown pass to John Brown? Just an unbelievable play. A silly throw by Josh, a silly catch by John Brown, and it made it a 2-score lead for the Bills for the first time all game. Huge play. And if you're like me, you're watching this game, you don't feel like the offense has much rhythm. Everything feels hard. And that was a big moment to really give the Bills a lot of momentum in the football game and give them a buffer, because they needed a buffer in this game. They needed it. Just a crazy good throw, crazy good catch. And John Brown caught that ball directly over his shoulder as he's diving and survives the ground. Just an unbelievable catch. Off-script play. Huge moment in the ball game. So then the Patriots answer with a touchdown to make it a one-score game, 28-23. And on the next Bills drive, on a 3rd and 10, Josh Allen drops that dime to Steph Diggs for a 49-yard touchdown. Absolutely gorgeous play. Gorgeous throw, gorgeous catch. Just hit him right on the money. Steph Diggs opens his stride and settles right underneath that football. Great throw. Great catch. Great route. 100-yard game for Steph Diggs and a touchdown. The touchdown tied him with Bill Brooks for the most touchdown receptions in a single season by a Bills player with 11. Unfortunately, he didn't break it, but he tied it. And that's a record that's destined to be broken very, very soon. Now, moving away from the big plays on offense, I really liked that third possession of the game for the Bills on offense. Obviously, the first possession was the opening kick for a touchdown. Then the Patriots punted. The Bills punted. The Patriots scored a touchdown. And then the Bills go 13 plays, 75 yards in 6.5 minutes. And it was the Bills' best drive of the game. It was an on-schedule drive for a Bills offense that wasn't on schedule very often. And you saw some really nice chunk plays. Devin Singletary, a 6-yard run. Diggs had a 16-yard catch. Gabe Davis, a 9-yard catch. Diggs, another 16-yard catch. Davis, 19 yards on another catch. And then the drive is capped with the Josh Allen touchdown pass to Dawson Knox on 2nd and goal. Josh had all the time in the world. Dawson Knox works open. Touchdown. That was the Bills' best drive of the game. Not close. So I obviously like that. And I think for the Bills running the football, obviously the volume wasn't there. And their streak of 100-yard rushing games is over. But when they ran it, I felt like they ran it well, especially with James Cook, who had 9 rushes for 45 yards. Singletary, 7 rushes for 29 yards. I mean, there were some good moments running the football, especially James Cook. I wish they did it more. And the last thing I'll say about the offense and things that I liked was I love seeing Khalil Shakir get that 28-yard reception. It's been a year for Shakir when he's been on the field a lot. He's getting a lot of good playing time, but just not a ton of opportunities to catch the ball. And that was at a big moment where the Bills offense was kind of fluttering in a lot of ways for Josh to put it on him. And then, the additional yards after the catch was a great moment in this game for Khalil Shakir and something the Bills offense sorely needed. Winter mornings are brutal. So here's my tip for tackling the day in comfort. Grab new Tommy John loungewear and take cozy wherever you go. When you start the year in Tommy John, you're that much more comfortable, so you can do everything better. Tommy John loungewear, pajamas, and underwear have dozens of comfort innovations like luxuriously soft tri-blend and micro-model fabrics with 4-way stretch and no lint balls or fuzz. With over 20 million pairs sold and thousands of 5-star reviews, people love Tommy John. That's why Tommy John doesn't have customers. They have fanatics. Like this Tommy John fanatic who raves, I bought one pair of loungewear, and after wearing them for 2 days, got all the other colors available. The only place I don't wear them is in the shower. Personally love wearing my Tommy John because it's so comfortable. In fact, every pair is backed by Tommy John's best pair you'll ever wear, or it's free guarantee. So get 20% off your first order at TommyJohn.com/lockedon. 20% off right now at TommyJohn.com/lockedon. See site for details. This episode is sponsored by BetterHelp Therapy Online. Unfortunately, life doesn't come with a user manual, so when it's not working for you, it's normal to feel stuck. Therapists are trained to help you figure out the cause of challenging emotions and learn productive coping skills, which makes therapy the closest thing to a guided tour of the complex engine called you. Therapy can be so beneficial for you to learn coping skills, self-empowerment, and to overcome challenges so that you can be your best self. Everyone deserves to feel their best, and BetterHelp makes it easier to get started. As the world's largest therapy service, they've matched millions of people with professionally licensed and vetted therapists available 100% online. So you get all the benefits of in-person therapy, plus it's more convenient, more accessible, and more affordable. Get unstuck with BetterHelp. Learn more and save 10% off your first month at BetterHelp.com/lockedon. That's BetterHelp, HELP.com/lockedon. All right, let's talk about things I liked for the defense. And in a lot of ways, it's similar to the offense, where I'm not sure the snap-to-snap consistency was very good in this game, but they had big plays. 3 huge interceptions, all in the second half of this ball game. The first one, courtesy of Tre'Davious White, which that right there makes me excited. Trey White picked off a football, and I feel like he's getting more and more comfortable. He's making more and more plays in the ball. It feels like he's gaining more confidence. He's becoming more like the Trey White we knew before the ACL tear. But the Patriots were threatening to score. Mac Jones dials up the deep ball, and Trey White runs the route for the receiver and picks it off. Big moment. Now, unfortunately, the Bills blew it. We'll talk about that in a moment. But for a moment there, that was a great play by Trey White. And then the last 2 offensive drives for the Patriots, the Bills ended them with an interception. The first one of the final 2 is Matt Milano off the deflection, picks off the ball in the end zone, keeps points off the board, then he returns it like 40-something yards. And then Tremaine Edmonds ices the game with an interception. And for as many almost interceptions that Tremaine Edmonds is in position to make, it's nice to see him get one. And I thought Tremaine played well all game. We'll talk about that in just a moment. But those 3 big plays on defense were significant. Thought Greg Rousseau had some great moments in this game. Obviously, the sack on the first possession and another tackle for loss, a couple of quarterback hits. Jordan Poyer played really well in this game. And it's not that he made a ton of splash plays. It's not like he had all these interceptions or pass breakups or fumble recoveries or anything like that, but he had 9 tackles, 7 of them solo. And I thought they were all really critical, good physical tackles where he needed to get the guy on the ground. And I have just so much admiration for Jordan Poyer and how he's playing this year, despite the elbow, despite a lateral meniscus tear in his knee. I mean, the dude's out there just laying it on the line and making an impact. And I thought in this game, his tackling was really, really a big boost to the defense in some big moments. How about Taron Johnson? This guy's playing great football down the stretch here. Great in coverage, and I thought he had really, really strong outings against Miami and Chicago, and now this game. And so you love that momentum for Taron entering the postseason. We know the type of impact he can make and how important he is to this defense. How about Tremaine Edmonds? 3 pass breakups. Matt Milano, 2 pass breakups. Your linebackers force 5 incompletions and have 2 interceptions. And then just overall, I thought there were some good situational moments. You limited New England to just 4 third down conversions on 13 tries. So New England's offense was 4 of 13 converting third downs. That's a great job by the Bills defense. And then They got to the red zone 4 times. You held them to no touchdown on 2 of them. So they were only 50% scoring touchdowns in the red zone, which is a world you can live in, right? Especially with 4 trips to the red zone. So I'll have some criticism here for the Bills offense, defense, and special teams in just a moment. But of course, I want to start with the things that I really enjoyed from all 3 of those units. And we've covered those to this point. And like I said, in just a moment here, we're going to flip over to some of the concerns that I had. But first, I'm really geeked out about our new partner and sponsor of today's podcast, the mobile game Ultimate Football GM. If you've ever dreamed of becoming an NFL GM and managing your own franchise, well, your dream can come true, and this game is definitely for you. You manage every strategic aspect of your team. You play through the season and lead your team to glory. You're responsible for hiring the right coaches and coordinators, trading players, making draft picks, and, of course, navigating your franchise through free agency and the draft with all the ups and downs of a season. All this in a challenging and realistic game world where Ultimate Football GM is completely free and playable offline. Play on the go as you want and when you want to. We have a league for the Locked On hosts. We're having a blast. I'm getting a ton of listeners that are telling me how much fun they're having playing Ultimate Football GM. So check it out. In fact, Locked On Bills listeners can get a 100% free boost to their franchise when using the promo code Locked On in the game store. That's Locked On, so make sure to check it out today. To download the game, just visit ultimate-gm.com or look it up in the app stores. That's ultimate-gm.com. Ultimate Football GM, start your dynasty today. All right, let's get into some things I didn't like here, and I have some criticisms for the Bills in this game. Obviously, a convincing win, 35-23, a lot of emotions. Familiar opponent against the New England Patriots that know you well. Obviously, we talked a lot about how the team would perform given all the circumstances of the week where, it's just hard to really know what to expect. And I think perhaps a lot of that contributed to what I thought was some bad football at times. The offense just wasn't super crisp. Josh Allen was searching for those big plays down the field. Now, he found 2 of them, and they were great plays, but I think it came at the expense of good process and rhythm. I don't feel like Josh's eyes were consistently in the right spots. I don't think he did a good enough job of taking what the defense gave him and taking profits and really ignoring them for some shots down the field. I thought the red zone sequence before the half was just really disappointing where, a couple of incomplete passes that were aimed towards the end zone and then the interception. It was a nobody was there. He just lobbed it over the middle of the field. I know he was getting hit, but you can't. That's a situation where the Bills were in position to take the lead before the half, knowing the Patriots got the ball first in the second half, and you come away with a red zone turnover. I mean, that's bad. I just thought he was chasing touchdown passes and big plays. I think the Bills should be very thankful for 2 kick return touchdowns and 3 turnovers forced by the defense, or this could have been a very, very tight finish. Now, credit to the Bills. They pulled out games all year long. They've been resilient. They know how to figure out problems, but this offense didn't play consistently good ball in this game. Really, really struggled at times. It felt like things were hard, and I thought a lot of that was self-inflicted. I thought the run game was effective, but they needed to stick with it more, especially James Cook. When your passing game statistically it was fine, but the consistency just wasn't there, and I think the team could have been on schedule, been more efficient, and perhaps even scored more points if they would have been a little bit more committed to utilizing the run game that appeared to be effective for a lot of times in this ball game. I don't like going 1 for 2 in the red zone, scoring touchdowns on offense. You only got there twice. Once it was a turnover. Of course, we talked about the good 13-play drive capped by the Dawson Knox touchdown in the red zone, but only getting there twice and only scoring a touchdown once in the red zone, not ideal. All 3 of the Bills' turnovers were really inopportune, right? Just bad moments that gave the Patriots life. Back to the Josh Allen interception, like we talked about, you're threatening to get points and have the lead at the half. You turn the ball over and take that opportunity away, knowing New England gets the ball first in the second half. Devin Singletary fumbled the football. Not a big fumbler, but it came at a bad time. Trey White picks off a football, and 2 plays later, you give the ball right back to the Patriots because Devin Singletary coughed it up. And look, I still can't figure out why he didn't recover it. It felt like the ball came out and he was tackled and went straight down on top of the ball, and then he just got out-muscled for the football by the Patriots defender that recovered it. And then how about the punt, the punt return? Tywan Jones touches the football, kind of gets blocked into the ball. I don't think he knew it was there, obviously. He didn't mean to do it, but it came in a situation where the Bills are up 2 scores midway through the fourth quarter. You force New England to punt, and then instead of giving the ball back to your offense, you give the ball back to New England at the Bills' 35-yard line. Those are 3 bad turnovers. Not that there's ever really a good turnover. You know what I would say? You know what a good turnover is? Kind of like what Mac Jones did at the end of the game where, hey, you're trying to make plays, you're down multiple scores, you have to do it. Those are turnovers you can live with. These were turnovers that gave a team that was down or at certain situations tied, gave them life. 3 bad turnovers. Gabe Davis, once again, a frustrating game. 3 catches on 10 targets. Couple balls went right through his hands. He no longer can make catches along the sideline. Just times he feels like he plays small for a bigger receiver. He just didn't have the year you hoped he would have as this wide receiver too. I think he's got a limited skill set with inconsistent hands. I think he's always going to be a player that's going to benefit from being the 3rd or 4th receiver and maybe the 4th or 5th option for the team in terms of target share overall. He just hasn't been consistent. Defensively, some frustrating things. The pass rush I thought was really quiet in this game. You felt like it was going to be really good on that first series. You know, Greg Rousseau gets Mac Jones down. He had pressure from the other side. You're like, okay, defensive line's going to get after it like they did at times against Chicago and in Miami, and it didn't happen. I thought Mac Jones was a little too comfortable back there. I thought the Bills' coverage was extremely soft at times. Just a lot of outbreaking patterns, completions that were not requiring hard throws or hard catches, just guys open, some soft coverage shells, and created for some easy work for Mac Jones and his very underwhelming wide receiver core. The Bills' defense was absolutely not ready for the Patriots' play-action game, which was a wrinkle because the Patriots have been very low utilization with the play-action game all season long. And then all of a sudden in this game, they ramp it up in ways that we haven't seen all year. And the Bills were really caught, right? They got caught with that. And that opened up a lot of those completions for Mac Jones as well. But just felt like the defense was vulnerable all night, which was a lot like the Miami game, to be honest with you, right? So 2 of the last 3 games, not Chicago, and of course the Bengals game was canceled. We're not going to get into that. But the defense felt shaky. And so I wish I felt better about that unit going into the postseason. And look, maybe it's just the week that happened. Maybe not game planning quite to the degree that you're used to. Certainly didn't practice to the levels that you're used to. I understand all of those things, but it's not a great performance by the Bills defense against, quite frankly, a bad Patriots offense with a below average quarterback, a below average group of weapons, an awful offensive coordinator, and an underwhelming offensive line. I would have liked to see the Bills play better defense in this ballgame. So what's next? No, the Bills are the number 2 seed, and they will host the Miami Dolphins in the wild card round of the playoffs. As the recording of this podcast, we do not know when that game will be played. I'm sure you probably do by the time you're listening to this, but I don't know if it's Saturday, Sunday, what time slot it's going to be in. Now, we haven't talked at all on this podcast about the NFL's decision on how to treat the seedings and home field advantage given the Bills and Bengals game was canceled. And I'll be honest with you, I don't have a ton of energy for that conversation. I just don't. To be completely honest, my energy for really debating what should have happened there is not something I just have a lot of ambition to discuss. But I will say this about it. I find it very unfortunate that the Bills lost control of their own destiny to be the number 1 seed in the playoffs because of these circumstances. Yeah, I hate that. It is what it is. But the Kansas City Chiefs absolutely unfairly benefited from what happened on Monday night in Cincinnati. Being the 2 seed, though, matters a lot. The road to the Super Bowl is much harder for the Bengals as the 3 seed than it is for the Bills as the 2. Cincy as the 3 now has to win in the wild card round over Baltimore. And then if they do that, they will likely go to Buffalo. And then if they beat the Bills, they will go to Kansas City. The Bills' path as the 2 seed is you host the Dolphins. Then if you beat the Dolphins, you will likely host the Bengals as opposed to going to the Bengals. And then if you beat the Bengals and it's Kansas City, you play a neutral site AFC Championship game. Or if it's not Kansas City, you host the game in Buffalo against any other team. So I think the Bills got a raw deal when it comes to their opportunity to be the 1 seed, but being the 2 and not the 3 creates a much more manageable path to the Super Bowl than if you're the 3. And with that said, playoff week is here. Do or die time, right? This is it. Win and continue, lose and go home. And your first matchup is against a division rival, the Miami Dolphins, who played you tight this year. They played you tighter than they ever have. And obviously, the quarterback situation, if Tua's going to play, Teddy Bridgewater, like I don't know the answer to that, but obviously the outlook on that game's quite different if it's Tua compared to Skylar Thompson or even Teddy Bridgewater. So that's something we'll obviously monitor and discuss this week on the podcast. Tomorrow will be Herd Mentality. Wednesday, we'll do a primer to get ready for the game. Thursday, crossover Thursday with Kyle Krabs, the Locked On Dolphins. And then Friday, we'll do our Friday stuff. So it's here. The postseason's here. And we all know what we're hoping for is at the end of this journey, right? This has been an absolute journey this year, both with the dynamics of things that happen in the community and the Bills, right? The team itself. Been through a lot of adversity, and you love to see it pay off by playing that last game of the year in Arizona. To get there, starts with the Miami Dolphins this week. So we will break it all down this week on the podcast. I hope you enjoy your Victory Monday. Go Bills. As always, I kindly ask that you share, subscribe, rate, and review the podcast. Have a great rest of your day, and I look forward to catching up with you again tomorrow.